One of the most challenging things in any meditation practice can be getting comfortable. Discomfort is a powerful distractor and very, very hard to overcome. So why not get comfortable in the first place? I like to think of my meditation seat as ridiculously comfortable, and if it's not ridiculously comfortable, then it's not good enough. So it's a good time to stop and readjust. So I'm going to offer you today a number of different ways you can modify your seat to make sure that you are comfortable and that you're at least not distracted by any discomfort or pain. Now your mind, that's another story. I'll leave that one up to you. So my favorite way to sit for meditation is on a little bit of a blanket. So you can see I have a little tri-fold Mexican blanket here. I like to sit up so that my sits bones are dropping down towards the floor while the fleshy part of my bottom is on the blanket. This helps give my pelvis just a little bit of a tilt so that I can find that natural curve of the lumbar spine and sit with greater ease. I cross one foot in front of the other, and this is my meditation seat. It's very easy for my knee to maintain and very comfortable on most days. Now, this seat doesn't work for everyone. If your hips are tight, might not feel so good, you might want to get a little bit higher. The answer to almost everything in getting comfortable for meditation is sit with your hips a little higher, because when your hips are higher than your knees, that natural lumbar curve happens and everything is good. So one of the things that you might explore is a meditation cushion. This is a thinner cushion. It's got cotton batting in it. This is a thicker cushion. This has buckwheat hulls in it. So you can kind of squish down into it. Days when I'm feeling really stiff or tired, I like this because this will get my hips a little bit higher. Everything kind of clicks into place and piece of cake to sit on. So meditation cushions are a great option. You can also use your couch cushions, whatever throw pillows you have around. Those are awesome, so great. As well, we have things like these big old bolsters. Now you'll notice this bolster is pretty thick and that you can either sit with it long-wise or short-wise. So whatever you need to be comfortable for your hips. And one of the great things about bolsters is not just that they'll get you up nice and high in your seat. Ooh, that feels pretty good today. But also that you can sit so that you're not even on with your legs crossed. So now I'm sitting here with back as if I was going to sit on my heels, but it's so much more comfortable because there's no compression on my knees, no compression on my ankles, much, much more comfortable. But again, if my hips were tight, this wouldn't feel as good. So here's the solution for that. Blocks. So here's one of the smaller versions of a yoga block. That works great. You can put it right under your bottom. Just sit right there. Again, no compression on knees or ankles. Awesome. Sometimes the super block is where we want to go. This is the biggest block on the market. I think it is actually called Super Block if you look it up. Really great. So you'll notice, again, you can sit with it many different directions. And it's got such a nice, big, big side that when you sit on it, it's kind of like sitting on a chair. Let's see. So there we go. Nice and easy. Now I could sit on this sitting back towards my heels in a hero type pose. I could also really get that nice high hip action, very comfortable, very sweet. Now, while we're talking about different seated postures for meditation, let's talk a little bit about sitting back on the heels. This is a great stable way to sit. If that external rotation is really challenging for your hips, this is really great. Now, even if this is relatively comfortable, you might like a blanket roll underneath your ankles, just so they don't have to flatten out on the floor. You'll notice here that this requires that my ankles are pretty darn flat on the floor. Behind the knees can be an issue too. If you feel like there's too much compression in the knees, you can take a little washcloth, tuck it behind your knee, and then sit down, and this will help open up more space. Some days I'll even pull my pants up and just sit with my pants kind of rolled up behind my knees. It's a nice option. So those are ways to make it more comfortable to sit back on your heels. Sitting cross-legged, there are a lot of different ways to do that too. So I kind of sit one leg in front of the other. I'm not quite in Sukhasana, which is feet and knees lining up. I'm not quite in Siddhasana, which is stacking feet or one foot in front of the other. About halfway in between. Super comfy for me. Maybe not for you. So find the one that works for you, somewhere in between there. This might not even mean going into half lotus, which is one foot up on the other leg. Very comfortable for me. Again, might not be for you. The other option you have, of course, too, the ultimate meditation seat, according to most people, is lotus pose. This is not accessible for probably most people. Part of it's because of knee issues. This creates torque in the knees. Part of it's ankle issues. Creates torque in the ankles. Some of it's hips, because this requires a lot of rotation as well as flexion. And some of us, our bones aren't even made to allow us to come into this position. So if that's you, don't worry about it. Make yourself ridiculously comfortable instead. Let's see, so here's another thing I wanted to mention. Another great use for a block. You could even sit on it right here. But one of the things that happens sometimes in meditation is you start to kind of slump. Because, you know, you've been sitting a while and you just forget. You get involved in other things. Your mind is not necessarily connected to your body, depending on the meditation you're doing. So the block is a great way to support yourself. Sitting against a wall, nice, helpful. Shoulders still start to round. So you take that block right down to your low back, sitting a little bit away from the wall, and let that low back help give you that lumbar curve. That feels good. I could lean back a little bit, but then my block would begin to tilt, so I'm a little bit more aware of that. I could slump forward, then my block would begin to fall, a little more aware because of that. So this helps keep my awareness on my posture just the slightest amount, just enough that it's comfortable. So again, I take that block, and you can see right to my low back, and just plop the other side right up against the wall. Very nice way to sit. So those are a lot of ideas of different ways that you can sit to make yourself comfortable. But here is my last one for you. This is the one that I find, especially in yoga classes, people are like, no, 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 I can sit upright, and they're struggling and struggling and so obviously uncomfortable. Meditation isn't working for them. Here's the answer. You sit in a chair. Piece of cake. When you sit in the chair, generally you don't want to sit all the way back because you notice my posture suddenly goes flat. You want to sit up towards the edge of the chair. This way you can bring your thighs towards parallel with the floor. This gives you a little room to get that natural curve and that low back. You notice, I think that's really important. That's what helps keep you upright. It gives you a little engagement in the pelvic floor to make that easy to sit upright. Just sit on a chair, if that's what's most comfortable for you. I've even been known to meditate on my couch, legs crossed, nice little lumbar support cushion behind my back right up against the couch. It's a thought, but you want to make sure that spine is long and you're so comfortable that you could sit way, way longer than you ever plan to meditate. And once you're comfortable, you can sit for that long. Ridiculously comfortable. Try it. It's awesome. I promise.